You are tuned in to a Fireside chat with Zany Mystic. Join us now on another exciting metaphysical journey. Relax, tune in, drop out, and take a seat by the fire as we explore new realms and possibilities. This is Magenta Pixie. You can find me at magentapixie.weebly.com. But now, here is Zany Mystic and guest. Enjoy the show.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a Fireside Chat. I'm your host, Lance White. Tonight, my guest is Carmen Turner-Schott. Carmen is a practicing clinical social worker, intuitive astrologer, and teacher with national and international clientele. After receiving a bachelor's degree in psychology, she completed her Master of Social Work degree at Washington University in St. Louis, Missouri in 1999. She wrote her first book in 2006 titled A Deeper Look at the Sun Signs, and just finished writing a book for Llewellyn Worldwide titled A Practical Look at the Planets Through the Houses, which is due out in 2010. She is currently writing her third book entitled The Mysteries of the Eighth House, Phoenix Rising. Carmen has been researching the 8th and 12th astrological houses for the past 15 years. As an 8th and 12th house person herself, she has personally experienced the energies and lessons of these two very spiritually transforming houses. She began her astrological work at the age of 16 and studied metaphysics and the Edgar Cayce material at that time. She has presented astrology workshops for the ARE, the Edgar Cayce Foundation, and teaches a variety of spiritual development classes. She is an astrology columnist for Spirit Seeker magazine and publishes numerous articles online. Carmen has also worked for the Air Force in a variety of different programs as a family advocacy outreach manager, alcohol and drug abuse prevention therapist, and as a sexual assault response coordinator and victim advocate. An avid Edgar Cayce researcher, she enjoys writing, studying, and teaching a wide range of spiritual topics. So let's meet her by greeting her on the show right now. Hi, Carmen. How are you?
Hi, Lance. Thanks for having me.
I'm loving having you. We got to chat during the week, and boy, it was like, I felt like I was connecting with an old friend.
Oh, I appreciate that. I did too. I think it's meant to be that you found me and that we got to do this.
Yeah. Well, I was particularly impressed with what you were sharing. We won't get into my chart tonight, but what you told me about my own chart and the information that you've been able to accumulate that's outside the realm of what we might find in the astrology books. In other words, from your thousands of readings that you've done for other people, you found patterns that tend to be true, and you won't find them in any astrology books.
Exactly.
I was wondering if you'd like to talk about that or anything else to start out with.
Sure. Just, throughout the years of, meeting a variety of different people and looking at their natal chart, what I find is, astrology is really a map of the soul. And that map is really just an energy, an imprint that we interpret. And there's certain things, certain planets, certain placements of the planets that really show a different energy than you'll find in any book. And I learned that through just counseling, people and really analyzing their chart and realizing that certain things didn't always match up for certain people. They say, I really don't feel like I'm a Virgo, and then when I looked at their chart, they'd have what I call a stellium of planets, which means that there's more than 3 planets in a sign, and they're all in the same kind of area of the chart. And what that tends to do is it kind of erases the energy of that sign, and the polar opposite sign takes over. So instead of being a Virgo, they're going to feel much more like a Pisces and have more personality traits of the Pisces. And that's something that I've seen, with various charts. When there's a lot of planets in one sign, it really changes the person's personality, and they don't fit the classic, book traits of a Virgo or a Leo or wherever their sun sign is. So it's just, different things I've, researched through the years. and most of my research has been with the 8th and 12th houses because they're the most mysterious and the most mystical houses in the astrological chart. And if you read a lot of the ancient, interpretations of the 8th and 12th house, it can be a little scary. And I have a lot of people email me and ask me, am I going to die at a young age? I have the sun in the 8th house, and that's a bad thing, or accidents, or the 12th house is known as the house of suffering and secret enemies. And so a lot of the old books talk about a lot of negative things about the 8th and 12th house, and I started realizing there is a lot of hard lessons and struggles that 8th and 12th house people go through, but it's truly a spiritual quest. People that have planets in those houses are born spiritual. They're born with intuition. They're born with healing abilities and an ability to help others and a sensitivity. And a lot of them are born with spiritual experiences. They experience things that they can't explain from a young age, whether it's a dream that happens or a feeling of knowing something's going to happen and it does. They're very, very spiritual people if you have planets in the 8th and 12th house. So I always say it's really a blessing and a curse to have 8th and 12th house planets, because there's a little bit of struggles and you have to go through a little bit of pain in your life, but that pain makes you more spiritual, and it makes you look for your purpose here on Earth. So that's kind of what I've learned about the 8th and 12th houses through all the people I've met and hearing all their stories and all their struggles. In the end, they always become more spiritual through what they've been through, and it's very, very neat.
It sounds like those two houses are houses of death and transformation. Yes.
The 8th house, I always call it, it's like the phoenix, and that's why I kind of called my book Phoenix Rising, because an 8th house person is someone that has the sun or moon placed in the 8th house, or someone that has a lot of planets placed there, or also someone that has a lot of Scorpio energy. That's considered an 8th house type of person, and people that have a lot of that will experience not just physical change in their life, but emotional transformations where, one day, an example that a lot of clients have shared with me, and I started noticing this was a pattern, they would tell me, they'd wake up one day and just look around their home and feel like nothing is the same. They want to get rid of everything. They just want to get rid of everything in their house and just like really limit, and limit excess and, just erase a lot of the material things that they've accumulated. And it's like a death and rebirth emotionally. And they just wake up and have that feeling that they are completely different. They like different things. They feel completely different about, their environment or their home. And it can happen in relationships for 8th house people. They just wake up and they've been transformed. And it can be very painful, especially for people that don't like change. And a lot of us, as human beings, change is scary and change can be painful. So a lot of 8th house people are forced to change, and it's kind of out of their control. And that's what makes it kind of a difficult house, because it's the universe and the energy of that house put situations into their life that make them change, and they really don't have any control over it. And that's where it can be a little bit of a challenge. But the more, that I share with them, the energy of the 8th house, and that these rebirths and these transformations, are meant to help them be born new, stronger, really. Just like the phoenix bird, that's burned to the ashes and is reborn new and stronger.
Well, I think just about everybody's seen that Harry Potter movie where the that's a visual of what we're talking about. The phoenix burns up in ashes and then it rises up and, anew, it's reborn. And that's a very strong visual for me.
Exactly.
you work a lot. I've had very close relationships with a couple of Scorpio people over the years, and I've found that there's a tendency towards drug abuse and bipolar, which may complicate the complexities of their lives. And one person was like almost as like a shapeshifter, and of course, that involves the bipolar aspect, so I don't want to go off too far on the tangent, but it's extremely difficult for a Scorpio, I think. And they were both kind of nomads, you know, not many possessions, very, very deep spirituality. I mean, just sometimes awesome spirituality. Yes,
that's eighth house people and Scorpio people definitely. Because of the different experiences that a lot of eighth house people have, for instance, a lot of eighth house people and Scorpio individuals, for instance, experience the death of a loved one at a young age. And that's something that I've seen in my research. And it's usually a parent, but sometimes it can be a close friend or family member. And so the issue of death really haunts them from a young age, and they, you know, it forces them really to think about, you know, what happens after I die, and am I a soul, and where do I go, and you know, and they have all these questions from a young age, and a lot of them share with me, especially eighth house people in Scorpio. There's an awareness of their own immortality. You know, they know that, you know, they may lay in bed at night, and I've had clients tell me, several clients that are Scorpios and eighth house people tell me, they lay in bed at night and think, what if I die? You know, what happens to me? And this is like at age 8, you know, and they're deep, you know, they're very deep and insightful from a young age, and all of those, you know, experiences, you know, cause them to feel, you know, lonely. A lot of them feel very lonely and different from other people. They can feel isolated. And a lot of, you know, with bipolar disorder, you know, we look at depression as a big key factor with that illness. And with eighth house people and 12th house people, there's always the experience of some type of depression, of sadness in their life. And usually it's because of their sensitivity to the environment and their sensitivity to others. They tend to pick up other people's pain and other people's problems. And so, you know, a lot of the people you're talking about that, you know, as they mature and, you know, they become nomads, they've kind of, you know, let go of the material world in a lot of ways. It's kind of because they're forced to, in a way, because of the pain they've gone through. They realize what truly matters. And they, you know, they have to experience many hardships. But a lot of eighth house people, you know, it's a blessing and a curse. The curse is, you know, depression, maybe some struggles with mood and things like that. It is the house of extremes, powerful extremes of love and hate. You know, I love you, I hate you, or you're my friend, or you're my enemy, you know. And that's very much a Scorpio thing. You know, Scorpios, they either trust you or they don't.
Yes, absolutely right. And even when they trust you, there's still that element of, well, maybe I don't.
Yes, they're very, very cautious, very protective of themselves, very perceptive people.
And very empathic and psychic as well.
Yes, very, very psychic and empathic. And almost everybody, I have to say, probably 98% of the people that I've met since I've been doing astrology and counseling that have had eighth house planets, or that have had, or who have been a sun sign Scorpio, I'd say 98% of them were born with empathic and intuitive abilities. And I'd say 98% of them have had an unexplained spiritual or mystical experience more than once. And it's something that they're born with. It's really the gift of the eighth house. There's spiritual gifts that are bestowed upon eighth house and 12th house people. It's kind of God's way of showing that He is there for them, even though they have to experience a lot of heartache in their life and a lot of growth, which all of that heartache is just meant to make them grow as a person and to become more spiritual. And once they realize that, their life gets a lot easier.